Hi, the neurodivergent psychic here, Michelle Andreassen. I don't know why I said it that way around, but so I've just been at a full day workshop in mediumship, and I learned a few new things, although I've already done a lot of mediumship practice, but but it's so cool. I have my dad on the other side, and he's come through many times, and I know he's here to help me with my mediumship. But when he was here in real life, he was a very selfish person. He was, and he loved the women, the ladies, anything with a pulse. No, not anything with a pulse, but he liked sex. And he came through today, and it was day one of mediumship for most of these people. So the very first mediumship contact one of the people had was my dad coming through, and I was just sitting there thinking, okay, please don't be your own self, because I knew she would be his type. And he was telling me a lot about how he was here to help me with my mediumship, and that he would love it if I could let go of some of those negative emotions I have towards him, which I have expressed a bit about now, but it kind of fucked up my family life, and especially my brother's life, that my dad didn't know how to keep it in. But anyways, the funny thing is that this poor person who was doing the reading for me, so my dad is really good at helping, and he I know it's kind of a purpose of his from the other side to support me in this, and especially because I have a feeling that I will be teaching mediumship at one point, because I'm really good at helping people getting just getting more into letting go, to trust, and to be open to whatever comes, and not be so anxious about it. And I was helping her, and it was so funny to see her facial expressions when she said, well, it's a dad vibe, and I feel like it's a dad, but then he's like, he feels very like he wants to be cool, and then when she started saying that, he says he's very sorry about some of the things he did, and then he said, but I would do it all again. And she was like, how rude is that? He says he would do it all again, and now he tapped me on my shoulder and he said, and I would do it 3 times. And I was laughing inside, because that would be my dad, because he really enjoyed life and the pleasures of life, and he's not here anymore. There's no way he can change anything. But he also came through saying he was really sorry for the way that it affected us, and he can see that now, and he knows that it wasn't wrong, but still he wouldn't change anything. And that can be really hard for people to hear. But I'm in a place, she also said, he says you're old enough to hear this and to understand it, and I do. I'm not sure that my mom would understand it, since she's probably still somehow hurting when she's thinking back. But I'm kind of over all of that, and I understand that he was a sexaholic, and he just didn't know any better, and he actually said that many times in this reading. But again, the look on her face, and he says he would do it all again. How rude is that? How can you do that when he says, because I'm feeling he's sorry, but also he's not sorry. And that was kind of hilarious, because I got it, and that was kind of how my dad was, because one minute he was my best friend, and the next minute there was some new woman in his life, and I didn't exist. So sometimes he was the biggest asshole, and other times he was amazing. So I'm really happy when he's coming through, when I know he's there to help me and support me now. So all the help and support I didn't get back then, I feel like I'm not getting it now, because it doesn't weigh up for all those years where he kind of was a word I'm not allowed to say. But it was pretty cool. But I told the medium I was practicing with here today, that he was that kind of guy. And I said, careful that he doesn't get too touchy with you. And wouldn't you know it, when we were done, we stood up, I said, oh, thank you, I gave her a hug, and then I went ahead of her up the stairs, and she squeaked and said, he touched my butt. And I was like, oh no, not again, because he's done it before. I was in at Arthur Findlay College. There was a platform reading, and he came. That was the first time he came through, I think, that week. And I'd kind of been looking at all the people there, and I knew that if someone could show his personality, it would have to be this one person. Who was always talking, and very much, so much energy around her, and I knew she would definitely be able to portray my father. And the minute she starts, I've got this man through, and she did this weird movement with her body, and I thought, oh, please don't let that be my dad who just touched her butt. And wouldn't you know, my dad came through. I don't know if he actually grabbed her, but I have a feeling that he did. So yes, they actually can do stuff like that. But it was so funny that this was a very, I'm excited for her, and also a bit apologetic, because that must have been quite an intense experience to have some, because he said, he's just talking, and he's telling me that he just loved the ladies. He just loved the ladies. And then she also said, he's showing me, was he a hunter? And I was like, kinda. He just didn't hunt animals, and ladies, he hunted ladies. So she must be somewhat traumatized if she thinks that's all he was. It's not. My dad had so many sides to him, and he really was a cool guy in so many different situations. Not always when I needed him, but he's there for me now, so that's so cool. And he actually came through to say that he's gonna be there even more for me if I allow him, if I can forgive him and let go of all the bad shit I'm carrying around. So I'll be working a bit on that, because I really do have a feeling that he has a purpose as a guide from the other side, especially when it comes to helping people, because just like me, he just says things and they don't have to guess. So that's pretty cool. It was an amazing day, and I'm back again tomorrow, so it's 2 days. And I just love mediumship. I love to have people coming through and showing me things that matter to them and their life and all of that. So, and I love sharing it. I love being, hopefully, an inspiration. And please don't be freaked out by this whole my dad grabbing their butt, because he's only doing it in this situation because he wanted me to know it was him, but also to teach them that they have some abilities in that. And he's also still himself, you know. But don't let this scare you in thinking that all people from the other side are going to go around and touching people, because this was a very specific situation. And it really showed who he was, and hopefully it gave a lot to the people there. So that was it for now, day 1 in the mediumship. I didn't even talk about what I experienced, but I experienced a lot here, and it's so cool. But that was funny. So see you in the next video. Let me know if you've had any experiences like this, or just in general, comment on what you think about these experiences, and if you get inspiration, or if you're thinking, nope, never ever am I ever gonna open this part of me. It really is just for me to share that this was fun. It was a fun experience. It was a learning situation, and I'm looking forward to next time. So like, subscribe, share. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Take care.